delicious fisherman soup. So on this, for our ingredients, we have, I have my fresh shrimp, I have my fresh pepper grinded, tomato paste, my snail, my grounded crayfish, my Ngolo. In Calabar we call it Nkonko. I also have my onions. I have my seasoning cube and my salt. I have my palm oil, and I have hot leaf. My hot leaf is washed and sliced. Then I also have my periwinkle. This one has been removed from the shell. I have my snail here. So these are the ingredients. The most important ingredients here is my fresh fish. This has been marinated since yesterday. I actually use croaker fish, so I marinated it since yesterday. So as you can see, the water is still inside, just out from the fridge. So I'm going to take this straight to my pot to start parboiling it. I'm using a bigger pot, as you can see. Why I'm using a bigger pot is so that my fish will come out the way I put it. So I'm taking this straight to the fire. And make sure I separate them from inside from one another so that it's not going to break. I want to remove it exactly the way I put it. So I'm going to cover it. I'm going to cover my pot. Now we come to the second stage of it. Inside another pot, I'm going to pour my oil. While the other one is boiling, we'll wait for it to get cooked before we continue. Then inside another pot, I'm going to pour my palm oil. Sorry, please let me on my gas. I'll leave it for some time for the oil to be hot. Though not too hot because I'm allergic to hot oil. So I'll bring forward my onions. I'll bring forward my onions. At this point, my oil is a little hot. Then I pour in my onions and stir it until it gets boiled. And I'll make sure that my onions is soaked into the oil. You can see it here. I'll make sure it's soaked inside oil. I'll leave it for some time, so I'll make sure my crayfish, my onions is properly cooked. Remember, our fresh fish is on fire, still boiling, so we cannot wait for it. Let's continue the processing so that we won't waste a lot of our time. Now if you look at the fire, my oil, my onions is already boiling. It's softened. Then at this point, I'll first of all bring in my fresh pepper. The essence of this fresh pepper is for it to kill the slap taste of my tomato paste. Some tomato paste can really slap, but the moment you put this fresh pepper inside first, before you bring in your tomato paste, it kills that slap taste. So that's why I'm bringing in my fresh pepper. Please be careful on the quantity of fresh pepper you use, because if you are not a lover of pepper, you will have to reduce it. But this one, we are cooking it for some of our guests, and they requested that we put much pepper. So that is why I'm adding all this pepper inside my oil. Then before I bring in my tomato paste, I'll take time and break the chunks of the tomato paste. Take time and break the chunks. Turn it and make sure I give it a thorough mix. At this point, if you taste it, you'll notice that my tomato paste will not slap. It will not give you that slappy taste. Why? Because of the fresh pepper that entered the pot before my tomatoes. There is no slappy taste at this point. Cover it and leave it for some time. This is 5 minutes after. I can now apply my seasoning cube into it. And a little salt. Please, the salt now is also optional. If you like salt, you can add more of it. But if you don't like salt, that one small is enough. Fine. At this point, I'll bring in my crayfish. I'll bring in my crayfish. If you notice, the color of the oil has mixed thoroughly with my tomato paste. So what I need now is a little water. So I'm going to add a little water. I'll add some more. Then I'll leave it to boil properly. So we'll now go back to our fresh fish. Remember, we have Ngolo here that will go with the fresh fish. So I'm going to pour in my Ngolo so that it's going to boil evenly with my fresh fish. I'll pour in my shrimps. At this point, my fish is well cooked. If you can see inside the pot, the shrimps have turned red. That means it's no longer raw. Then that is when I'm going to bring in my periwinkle. I'll bring in my periwinkle inside. Please, the quantity of the shrimp and the quantity of periwinkle, it depends on what you want. It does not depend on amount. You may like it much and you may like it less. And this is my snail. Please, I'll put my snail inside my pot. Then I'll try as much as I can to make sure it is soaked inside the water. Please make sure you don't use spoon. The moment you put spoon inside here, the fish will break down. I will now cover it back and allow it to cook. While I come back here and look at the smaller pot, the tomato is boiling. Let me see. It's tasting delicious. I'll now take it off from fire and turn it into the bigger pot. Remember, you are not supposed to be shifting the fish up and down. Don't turn it so that it will not break. Croaker fish is very fragile, so any little mistake is going to break. Except you like it pieces. But since we are saving it to some guests, we do not want to pieces it. Leave it for some time to boil. Let the tomatoes soak inside the fish. Please, at this point, your Maggi, your salt must be okay, because you are not supposed to turn the soup up and down. If you turn it up and down, if you know that you are not okay with what is inside, please try as much as you can to remove the fish from inside the pot. Then put them one side before you can now put any other thing inside. But at this point, mine is okay. Then I'll leave it for some time. Then, if you come together, if you come close, you will notice that it has been boiling. Can you see the delicious face? It has been boiling for like 10 minutes. At this point, the tomato sauce has soaked inside the fish. Then I can now apply my hot leaf. If you look at the hot leaf, I did not cut it to be too tiny. It's neither tiny nor big. So I'll now apply my hot leaf. The reason why you see me put a little of Maggi is that I already put enough Maggi while marinating my fish. I already have enough salt while marinating my fish. So don't think that because I've not brought up salt and seasoning cube that I did not put salt. I've actually put enough salt to my soup and seasoning cube. So that's because I marinated it since yesterday. So at this point, my soup is ready. If you want your leaf to be very fresh, please leave it at this. Just leave it at this. It should not be overcooked. Delicious fisherman soup. I'm going to show you a picture after I've dished it. Have you seen the outcome of my soup? This is fisherman soup. The way Calabars used to make it. With all the chummies inside. Please, if you love what I do, subscribe, like my page, and follow us on Instagram so that whenever I post my video, you will be the first to be notified. I love you all. and see you next video.